The screen is shrouded in darkness. A distressed, sobbing voice pleads with his captors, claiming he has no memory of what happened. A cold voice commands that he be killed. Suddenly, we shift to Yoo-seok, who awakens in the back seat of his family's car. He's drenched in sweat and looks bewildered, but overall, he seems okay. His mother is there, concerned, asking if he's all right. His father chuckles, suggesting he was just having a bad dream. Yoo-seok, his brother, laughs and teases that Yoo-seok must be too excited about their move to a new house today to get any sleep. Yoo-seok smiles, but there's a hint of something unsettling beneath the surface. As the family arrives at their new home, Yoo-seok mentions that the place feels oddly familiar. Despite this, he's eager about the move. Standing next to his older brother, he reflects on how much he admires Yoo-seok. Not only is he intelligent, but he's also kind, caring, and athletic, with nothing negative to say about anyone. It's no wonder he's the envy of all the boys at school. Yoo-seok holds his brother in high regard, and it's clear why. Even after Yoo-seok's car accident last year that injured his leg, he remains perfect in Yoo-seok's eyes. As the family begins to unpack, we see it's 1997. Yoo-seok discovers he'll be sharing a room with Yoo-seok. The previous owner of the house left some belongings in the smaller room, and plans to return in a month to retrieve them. Yoo-seok's father agrees to this, meaning the brothers will have to share the one room for now. Yoo-seok jokes about Yoo-seok not wanting to share, but Yoo-seok reassures him that he doesn't mind because he loves his brother. During dinner that night, Yoo-seok inquires about the spare room. His father explains that it will be cleared out in a month and advises Yoo-seok to be patient. He also cautions him not to enter the room under any circumstances. Yoo-seok's attention is drawn when he hears a thud from the direction of the room above. Although no one else seems to notice, when he mentions it, his friends speculate it might just be thunder. A moment later, more thunder rumbles, lending some credibility to their theory, but Yoo-seok appears uncertain. During dinner, his parents remind him to keep up with his medication, and he nods in agreement. Later, Yoo-seok is in bed, listening to music on his Discman while his brother Yoo-seok sleeps soundly beside him. As he enjoys the tunes, a strange noise from the small room piques his curiosity, compelling him to investigate. He tiptoes closer, hearing a rustling sound coming from behind the door, which seems to grow louder. Just as he reaches for the handle, Yoo-seok taps him on the shoulder, causing Yoo-seok to jump. He quickly explains the noise to his brother, who listens but hears nothing. Yoo-seok then insists they go for a walk to help Yoo-seok clear his mind. With rain pouring down, the brothers grab umbrellas and step outside to take in the city view. Suddenly, Yoo-seok receives a call from their father, asking him to return home briefly. Yoo-seok agrees but assures Yoo-seok he will wait for him. Yoo-seok confirms he will. While waiting, Yoo-seok grows restless and starts to head home. Just as he arrives, he witnesses a group of men in a van abducting Yoo-seok. He tries to chase after them but can't intervene. However, he manages to memorize the license plate before stumbling back inside to inform his parents about the kidnapping. Collapsing from the shock, while unconscious, Yoo-seok experiences a series of strange dreams filled with blood, an axe swinging toward him, rain, and a voice urging him to kill. He eventually wakes up and is taken downstairs to speak with detectives, where he recounts witnessing the men take his brother. Yoo-seok shares details about the license plate from the black van his brother was taken into. The detectives dismiss his claims, insisting that the license plate and the van don't exist. Frustrated, Yoo-seok argues that he clearly saw it, but the detectives remain skeptical, suggesting he might have misremembered the numbers. As days pass, life becomes increasingly difficult for Yoo-seok and his parents. He struggles to focus on his studies and keeps up with his medication, all while feeling anxious and fearful for his brother's safety. Each night, he dreams of an unfamiliar man who keeps appearing in his dreams. One night, while deep in sleep, Yoo-seok suddenly awakens to find the door to a small room ajar. To his horror, he notices someone slowly pushing the door open. Frozen in fear, he hides under the covers as a dark figure enters the room. He waits, terrified, expecting the worst. When nothing happens, he cautiously peeks out, only to find his room empty and the door closed. Suddenly, a demon-like woman attacks him, causing him to scream and wake up. 19 days later, Yoo-seok comes back home, claiming he has no memory of the past weeks. A psychiatrist reassures them that this is a common reaction to severe trauma, and that his memories will eventually resurface. For now, they must be patient. One night, Jin-seok wakes up to find his brother missing. He hears Yoo-seok leaving through the front gate, but thinks nothing of it. The next morning, he feels relieved to see his brother back home. As Jin-seok goes to take his medication, he accidentally drops it under the counter. When he bends down to pick it up, Yoo-seok distracts him, and they end up ordering takeaway to enjoy a meal together. While they eat, Jin-seok inquires about his brother's whereabouts the night before. Yoo-seok insists he didn't go anywhere, suggesting that Jin-seok was simply dreaming. As Yoo-seok gets up to head to class, Jin-seok notices he's limping on the wrong leg. Yoo-seok brushes it off, claiming Jin-seok is imagining things. Jin-seok seems to accept this and continues his meal. He studies quickly but soon dozes off at the desk, resting his head on the table. Yoo-seok stands over him, observing his brother sleep, then takes a click-top pencil and extends the lead, aiming it at Jin-seok's closed eyelid. When the lead drops out, Yoo-seok sets the pencil down and leaves the house. Jin-seok, who had been awake the whole time, sees Yoo-seok exit and decides to follow him. To his surprise, he notices that Yoo-seok is no longer limping, and things only get weirder from there. Jin-seok trails his brother through town until they reach a quiet area where two detectives from earlier greet Yoo-seok as boss. They converse as if they are plotting something involving Jin-seok. Feeling confused and scared, Jin-seok turns to leave but accidentally bumps into the detectives. They call him an idiot and accuse him of ruining their plans before they suddenly chase after him. Jin-seok manages to evade them until Yoo-seok appears behind him, pressing a cloth to his mouth, causing him to lose consciousness. The next morning, Jin-seok wakes up in his room, back at the table where he fainted. He panics when he sees Yoo-seok and rushes into the bathroom, locking the door behind him. Inside, he yells at Yoo-seok, insisting he remembers what happened the night before and demanding the truth. Yoo-seok maintains that he is being honest and that Jin-seok must have just dreamed it. Unwilling to accept this, the brothers erupt into a violent confrontation. The scene concludes with Yoo-seok reminding Jin-seok that he forgot to take his medication the day before, which explains the intensity of his dreams. Jin-seok feels a mix of confusion, frustration, and anger about the situation, but ultimately he accepts his brother's words. Yoo-seok sits him down and insists he take his medication before leaving the house. Alone now, Jin-seok attempts to study but discovers the pencil lead that Yoo-seok had pushed out the night before, confirming that his experiences were real. When their mother returns, Jin-seok shares everything that transpired, and she becomes alarmed, fearing something might be wrong with Yoo-seok. Jin-seok insists that the man he encountered is not his brother. Later, he hears a noise from a small room and grabs a baseball bat, cautiously approaching the door. Upon opening it, he finds the room seemingly normal, filled with packed furniture. However, as he turns a corner, he is horrified to discover his brother hanging lifelessly. Suddenly, Jin-seok wakes up in his bed, realizing it was just a dream. He makes his way downstairs and hears his mother talking on the phone in her room. Curiosity piqued, he sneaks closer to eavesdrop and learns she is speaking to Yoo-seok, relaying everything Jin-seok had confided in her. This confirms his suspicions that something is indeed amiss. In a moment of distraction, he accidentally makes a noise, alerting his mother. She rushes to the door but by then, Jin-seok has already slipped away. His mother searches the house, anxious that Jin-seok might have overheard her conversation. Meanwhile, Jin-seok hides outside, but when he realizes she's heading upstairs to check on him, he scrambles to climb the side of the house to reach his room first. The rain makes the surface slippery, and the window is locked, leaving him hanging precariously as he tries to get inside. Just as his mother approaches his room, somehow, he manages to slip in before her, and she pulls back the covers to find her son fast asleep. He's drenched from the rain, but she mistakes it for sweat and lets him continue sleeping. As soon as she leaves, Jin-seok wakes up. He climbs out the window to make his escape. Inside, his mother is still on the phone, revealing that her cover has been compromised and that Jin-seok overheard her conversation. Outside, just as Jin-seok is about to run away, his father shows up. His mother steps outside, and a stranger approaches and stands next to her. They call out to Yoo-seok, asking him to return, but he bolts in fear. The stranger chases him down the street, seemingly ready to catch him, but a motorbike rider intervenes, giving Yoo-seok the chance to flag down a police car. At last, he finds safety. Once at the police station, Yoo-seok tries to explain the situation, but even he is confused. Things take a bizarre turn when they confirm his identity, but inform him that it's 2017, and he is actually 40 years old. Yoo-seok panics and looks around the station, realizing it's true. He catches a glimpse of himself in a mirror for the first time, and sees that he is not the 20-year-old he believed himself to be. He has become a middle-aged man. Returning home, he finds the place deserted. The spare room upstairs resembles a crime scene, complete with fake blood and two dummies. Yoo-seok and his parents arrive, and Yoo-seok demands answers. They finally reveal the truth. 20 years ago, a horrific murder took place in the house that captured national attention, and the police were unable to find the killer. After 16 years, the family hired Yoo-seok, a private investigator, who tracked down Yoo-seok, claiming he was the murderer, but Yoo-seok had no recollection of it. It was as if his memories had been wiped clean. In a desperate attempt to restore his memory, they brainwash him, convincing him that it's 1997, and he's moving into the murder house with Yoo-seok's family. The plan is to recreate the murder scene in hopes of triggering Yoo-seok's memories. But everything changes when Yoo-seok gets arrested. Yoo-seok witnesses the arrest and panics, taking off. In the chaos, they crash the car, resulting in the deaths of Yoo-seok's parents, and Yoo-seok gets hurt. Now, Yoo-seok's memories come flooding back. Flashback to when he was 20, riding in the car with his brother and parents. The same crash happens, leaving his brother badly injured and taking his parents' lives. Left on his own, Yoo-seok is desperate for cash to pay for his brother's surgery. With no job and no prospects, he stumbles upon an online offer: kill a woman for money, with the condition that her kids are left unharmed. He breaks into the house but can't go through with the murder. When he's caught, he begs for silence, but the daughter's screams change everything, assuring her that he will go. Suddenly, the daughter comes down the stairs and starts to scream. In a moment of panic, Yoo-seok chases after her, leading to a tragic accident where he unintentionally kills her. The mother, still in shock and screaming, also meets the same fate. The only one left unharmed is the infant son, whom Yoo-seok tells to go to his room and count to 110, promising to return with his mother and sister. The boy complies and Yoo-seok departs. It turns out that Yoo-seok was hired by his brother's doctor to eliminate his wife. When confronted, the doctor reveals he did it for the insurance money, hoping to keep his family from losing their home. Yoo-seok is horrified, and a violent struggle breaks out, culminating in Yoo-seok accidentally pushing the doctor off the roof. Fast forward to the present, Yoo-seok awakens in a hospital, where his fake brother is waiting, furious that Yoo-seok has escaped once again. The brother brandishes a needle filled with poison, but Yoo-seok confesses that he remembers everything, halting him. The fake brother discloses that he was the little boy Yoo-seok spared all those years ago, and his life has been a nightmare since then. His family took the insurance payout and sent him to an orphanage. He questions whether his father had hired Yoo-seok to kill his mother, but Yoo-seok lies, taking the blame himself. The brother demands to know why Yoo-seok allowed him to suffer so much. Overcome with despair, the fake brother jumps out the window to end his life. Consumed by guilt, Yoo-seok uses the poison-filled needle to take his own life. A final flashback reveals the two as children, unaware of the tragic connection that would bind their fates.